Hey folks, today's DevOps SRE question has to do with autoscaling on Kubernetes. If you are not familiar with Kubernetes, you better be, because that's like the most hottest topic ever for DevOps and SRE interviews and jobs. And scaling is also a part and parcel of anything you do in DevOps. So you better know both parts of this equation. Before I start, please subscribe to my channel. When you subscribe, that tells me that these videos are useful to somebody, and that motivates me to do more videos every day. Okay, the question: how do you autoscale a Kubernetes deployment? So first of all, a Kubernetes deployment, essentially a set of pods, identical pods, right? So let's say that you're doing an NGINX pod deployment. A deployment might say, hey, use NGINX pod and run 10 of them. That's a deployment, right? And you can get into a lot of configurations about deployment itself. That's out of scope for this question. Today's question is, if we have defined a deployment, how do you make sure that that deployment, that the pods get auto-scaled up and down as you get more and more traffic? So the answer is, you use something called HPA, Horizontal Pod Autoscaler. That is a native thing that comes with Kubernetes. I forget what version, but it is a thing that's already there. All you have to do is define the YAML for that. Now, couple of things to pay attention to. First of all, the kind is Horizontal Pod Autoscaler, right? So that's an item by itself. It's not part of the deployment per se, right? These are just names and stuff, so you don't worry about that. The key thing here is, well, there are a few key things. First of all, the deployment that is going to apply to is called my deployment, right? So whatever deployment name you've given to your deployment, that's what you have to put here, right? Number one. You can see here in kind, it says deployment. That means you can use HPA for other things besides deployment, right? Now, how does it know when to autoscale? This comes from this type utilization. So when the average CPU usage of the current pods goes over 50, this kicks in and it keeps scaling until it goes below 50, right? So, and then how do you go? Do you go infinite, or no? When you go down, do you go to zero? What happens, right? So that's where this comes into play: min replicas and max replicas. Min means you always going to have one, no matter what, right? Mass replicas, in this particular case, we're saying 5. That means even if CPU goes to 100, after 5, don't scale up anymore, right? So these are the configuration items that goes with an HPA, and HPA is used to auto scale your deployments and other things, other items in Kubernetes, not just deployment, but that's the way you do it for deployment. Hope this was useful. I'll see you in the next one.